Blake Lively finds herself in a precarious situation after Piers Morgan's brutal takedown on live television.
And it just seems like a pair of absolute weapons-grade narcissists.
What he's alleging is true. She sounds like an absolute nightmare.
This woman, this Mad Hatter, who no sane man would go near with a 10-foot barge pole, it is so offensive and so ridiculous.
Tried to take over and hijack the movie, and when she didn't get her way, she brought her much richer, more successful and powerful husband in to lay down the law.
His incisive critique exposes her attempts to manipulate the media and distort the truth.
Baldoni, by the sounds of things, got completely shafted in this one, so if all of this is true, he's 100% justified in suing her.
Leaving her credibility in tatters. The public, once enamored with her charm, now questions her integrity.
If even only half of what he's saying is true, Blake Lively is a complete nightmare.
And the internet erupts in a frenzy of backlash. Lively's carefully crafted image begins to unravel, and the consequences of her actions become increasingly severe.
It seems insurmountable. It seems like this case cannot be settled.
What began as a legal dispute between Lively and Justin Baldoni quickly escalates into a public spectacle.
This is an actress that was hired to be in the film, and yet she's asking the director, who's also her lead, for the cuts and the edits, and she's decided to take over the wardrobe, and she gets to choose her wardrobe and they pay for it. That's unprecedented. No one's ever heard of that.
Revealing not only her hypocrisy, but also her questionable public relations strategies.
It's the more, I think, stain on all your gruesome houses. The publicists involved, the actors involved, everybody involved seems to be absolutely horrible.
As the legal battle unfolds, Lively's attempts to control the narrative backfire spectacularly.
Because I can imagine how many people in the past have been victim to the kind of stunts that Blake Lively and her husband have pulled, now apparently in conjunction with Taylor Swift, who has oddly decided to distance herself from the couple, which is an interesting development.
She finds herself not only losing in the courtroom, but also in the court of public opinion, where the stakes are often higher.
And that Justin Baldoni and the producer tried to sexually harass this woman, this Mad Hatter, who no sane man would go near with a 10-foot barge pole. It is so offensive and so ridiculous. I mean, I urge everyone to just read through everything that Justin Baldoni
it is utterly...
With a staggering $400 million in lawsuits looming over her, one would expect Lively to lay low and regroup.
And it just seems like a pair of absolute weapons-grade narcissists.
Instead, she doubles down on her misguided tactics, employing every shady PR trick in the book while simultaneously trying to portray herself as a helpless victim.
None of this was ever about making a good film. It was about power. It was about power. And now that power is backfiring. They try to play it out in the public. That didn't work. They don't want Justin playing it out in the public. The only way Blake and Ryan could salvage what's left of their reputation, which they don't even realize, I truly don't think they realize how reviled they are.
However, the legal documents emerging from the case do not paint her in a favorable light. Each revelation further erodes her standing, and a cover story in The Hollywood Reporter serves as the final nail in her PR coffin.
And then she has the audacity to call her husband and Taylor Swift her dragons, and that Justin Baldoni and the producer tried to sexually harass.
In this mockery of a magazine spread, Lively is depicted launching a slingshot at Baldoni.
They're mad. They're mad at Justin for releasing the full context of those texts. It makes
and
no
the worst
sense.
part of all of this,
a visual metaphor that confirms her self-destructive rampage. The internet revels in the spectacle, and what was intended to be a show of strength.
Blake Lively dropped a lawsuit with all his texts, cherry-picked those texts, removed emojis and intent and backstory to these texts.
Literally outright deleted certain sections of the text.
Yes.
Instead highlights her vulnerability. Lively's aspirations to be seen as a fearless whistleblower crumble.
Which they don't even realize. I truly don't think they realize how reviled they are. I don't think they realize they're losing.
Revealing her instead as a Hollywood figure throwing tantrums when things don't go her way. Her attempts to take creative control over the film.
She was trying to take charge of a situation. You could put the period there. She was not uncomfortable.
You could view it with either lens, I think.
Including wardrobe decisions and script changes, raise eyebrows across the industry. Morgan's commentary cuts deep as he points out that Lively has gone from being America's sweetheart.
If they did something that no litigious celebrity has ever done, which was come out and be like, we made a mistake. Suing someone is a nightmare. It's stressful. It's expensive. It's a life ruiner. And you know what, dude? Even if we're right, it's not worth it.
To Hollywood's most delusional celebrity in record time. The irony is palpable. The same media she sought to manipulate is now exposing her for who she truly is.
Juries don't like liars. Trials are about credibility.
As the scandal unfolds, even her close connections, including Taylor Swift, begin to distance themselves from her.
If they find that she just was dishonest and lied on one single point of evidence, in this case, in her testimony, the jury instruction says that they are allowed to discount her entire testimony.
Swift, once a confidant, reportedly becomes furious upon realizing that Lively has dragged her name into this legal quagmire.
Her testimony won't even count. And that is that's a harsh reality, because if the jury chooses not to listen to anything she has to say, she's the best witness in this case.
The public begins to see through Lively's manipulative tactics, and her once charming persona disintegrates under the weight of scrutiny.
Because I don't trust you, Blake. I do not trust you. You have lied too much. You have fudged truths. You are trying to hide so much information that you are like your character in a simple favor, and I can't unsee it.
The lawsuit progresses, and Lively's credibility is further undermined by leaked texts that contradict her claims.
And the worst part of all of this, she decided to promote a film about domestic violence by flogging her alcohol brand, even though we know that most domestic violence cases are involved drinking by the part of the abuser. And she got her husband's PR company that wasn't signed off by Sony to take over the promotion of the film.
In these messages, she privately praises Baldoni's work, thanking him for certain creative decisions, while publicly portraying him as the villain.
So her testimony is super important in this case. And if you can show the jury that she's lied, juries don't like liars. Trials are about credibility.
This stark contradiction raises questions about her integrity and motives. Her desperate attempts to control the narrative only amplify the perception of her as a manipulative figure, scrambling to maintain her facade.
But she thinks this is okay, and like proudly displaying us, we're women, so we can just lie and cheat and steal our way into control these big movies. I mean, how disturbing is this to you?
As the legal battle intensifies, Ryan Reynolds, initially supportive of Baldoni, finds himself caught in the crossfire. His shift in allegiance to Lively raises eyebrows and complicates his public image. Once seen as Hollywood's golden boy, Reynolds now appears as Lively's loyal PR puppet.
Trials are about the truth, and juries want the truth, and if you lie to them, they will hold it against you.
Desperately trying to navigate the fallout from her reckless decisions. The public watches closely, and the narrative shifts as Reynolds attempts to distance himself from the chaos.
Breaking news, Justin Baldoni just got a big win, meaning Blake Lively got a big loss.
Baldoni's counter-lawsuit reveals the extent of Lively's alleged deceit, and the legal battle becomes a spectacle of its own. The public's reaction is overwhelmingly negative, with many calling out Lively for her actions.
Now they're saying, well, no, yeah, but she didn't want that, and he wasn't really in character, and it wasn't within the context of what it should have been. So they're trying to skew it kind of a different way.
The backlash is swift and unforgiving, as social media erupts with criticism and the narrative shifts against her.
Number 4, the smear campaign designed by Baldoni's team was intended to derail the SH claims that Lively brought later in time, which seems a little odd to me.
In a desperate move, Lively attempts to bolster her case with additional legal documents, but they only serve to highlight her inconsistencies.
Number 2, the SH has nothing to do with taking over the movie, even though she doesn't deny that she took over the movie. Of course, it'd be probably impossible to do that.
The industry watches as her carefully curated image crumbles, and her PR strategies fail to resonate.
So it kind of makes them look like they're trying to take that video, now that it's out, and kind of spin it in a different direction.
The fallout from the lawsuit exposes the lengths to which celebrities will go to manipulate public perception.
That's Blake Lively's PR firm begging to be let go of the case. I think actually they may have the worst messages of all.
Lively's misguided belief that she could control the narrative through media manipulation becomes painfully evident as the truth emerges.
There's something wrong with you. And that's exactly what these two people look like. And so it's just glorious to watch it all blow up in their face.
As the case unfolds, the public's perception of Lively shifts dramatically. The illusion of her Hollywood persona dissipates.
Whatever. But if someone calls you that in real life, they're all, that woman is cruel. That is really like at least for me, that's the most impactful way that you can say a person's mean, you know? Because cruel is like you're enjoying this. There's something wrong with you. And that's exactly what these two people look like.
Leaving her reputation hanging by a thread. The question remains, what will her next move be?
Real Me Too stuff, real serial predators that were attacking women who were aspiring actresses who were following their dreams.
Will she continue to double down on her lies, sacrifice her husband for self-preservation, or finally concede defeat?
And then these two, in that environment, go up and they accuse Justin Baldoni of the same type of thing, which was a complete lie. How could anyone allow them to continue in that community after doing that?
The drama surrounding Blake Lively is far from over. The public is eager to see how this saga unfolds, and the stakes continue to rise.
Sean?
Like, none of this was ever about making a good film. It was about power. It was about power. And now that power is backfiring. They try to play it out in the public. That didn't work. They don't want Justin playing it out in the public. The only way Blake and Ryan could salvage what's left of their reputation, which they don't even realize, I truly don't think they realize how reviled they are.
With each passing day, the narrative grows more complex, and the consequences of her actions loom larger.
I mean, is it not a little hypocritical? Is this a bad look of her if she's trying to tell the courts that we should stop talking about this in public?
The world watches as Lively navigates this treacherous landscape, and the outcome remains uncertain. The reality is that she has created this mess herself.
Team Justin, which, same PR rep who repped Johnny, who was behind this, Blake sort of saw that as, oh, you're trying to use an Amber Heard tactic, but she didn't even realize, like, that's not a good defense. That means you're guilty because Blake, Amber lied.
And now she must face the repercussions of her choices. The public is no longer willing to accept the Hollywood illusion, and Lively's fate hangs in the balance.
Blake Lively made, and she lied in their minds about what occurred during that dancing scene because she wasn't aware that there was audio that would maybe explain and give some context to what was happening there. So of course she changes her in her amended complaint. She changes the view of it a little bit.
As the dust settles, one thing is clear: the days of blindly believing celebrities are over. The public demands accountability, and Lively's attempts to manipulate the narrative have only served to expose her vulnerabilities.
Really what they did is they said, well, yes, all of that happened, but when Baldoni was in that scene dancing, he wasn't in character, and she was being forced to act as though she loved him, which is, in my mind, just acting.
The question now is whether she can salvage her reputation, or if this will mark the end of her Hollywood career. The drama is far from over, and the world is watching closely.